For her partner Paul and the rest of the family, the unbearable wait for answers grows even more painful.
Anger, utter frustration, confusion, disbelief, surrealism. Nothing feels real. My main focus is the children, always has been. So that's my focus that gets me through.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Gisela Kay, and today we continue to look at the missing persons case of Nicola Bulley. So, if you are brand new to the channel, welcome. I hope you'll subscribe. If you subscribe for 1 minute, then you can chat with us. If you're just peeking in today, lurkers, welcome as well. If you're just looking, hit the subscribe button so that you can lurk again next time. And let us get into just a summary that I always give you guys. If you haven't followed along, I have a playlist for you guys on this case if you want to catch up on all the information shared. There's been a lot of information, and I know that some of the streams are a little bit long. I don't intend them to be that way, but there's just so much news all the time. But in order for you to spare you, if you don't have 2 hours to watch the whole thing, what I do is I chapter them all out for you so that you can just scroll forward to where you want to see it. It's all time stamped, chaptered out for you with pinned comments. Okay, so just go check that out if you feel like, oh no, 2 hours. Don't worry, I feel like you sometimes too. When I'm watching other content, I'm like, damn, 2 hours of content. No. Okay, so let's get into the news for today. So Nicola Jane Bulley is still missing. She's 45 years old, a mother of two. The girls aged 6 and 9, and she's lived in Lancashire for 25 years. She's originally from Essex, a mortgage advisor, and she was last seen along the River Wyre in St. Michael's-on-Wyre, Lancashire. That was on January 27th at around 9:10 a.m. She's white, 5'3", 1.6 meters, and speaks with an Essex accent. Based on all the information that we learned yesterday, I would say the public, if you're in that area, if you're in the UK, keep an eye out for her. And if you have an immediate sighting, call 999. So we know as well what she was last seen wearing, which I do have visuals here for you if you have ever missed it. This it's just replicas of it. It's not exactly, but the gilet jacket, an Engelbert Strauss jacket under that, ankle length green wellies, a necklace, which we don't have a description of, a pale blue Fitbit, and tight black jeans. Thank you for all the yellow hearts that you guys are sharing. If you're wondering, why are people sharing yellow hearts? Remember that Nicola's family and friends tied, and the community, yellow ribbons to that bridge that crosses the River Wyre, very close to where she was last seen, because you would enter the upper and lower fields in that walking area where lots of people walk their dogs by crossing over that bridge from the school where she dropped off her kids. So there they tied all these ribbons on and wrote personal messages for her, and they are just begging for her to come home, right? Okay. KA2Z says, glad to be back to a channel which doesn't allow the victims to be attacked and accused. Yes, and let me know what your thoughts are. I just, especially in the comments below if you're watching the replay, I just feel like this stigma for two things. Menopause, when they're like, ooh, menopause, perimenopause. I mean they, the police, right? Being like, well, let us reveal now what it was. It should never have been so dramatized. It's nothing to feel ashamed of. You know what I mean? We all struggle with various things in life. Nobody's perfect. Just say the information so that people know. And even if you don't say it to the public, say it to the expert search teams who are out there trying to help. It could be helpful. Peter Faulding from SGI said if he had known that information, it would have changed his search strategy, because he's not only an expert at searching water, but also land. So he would have expanded his search a bit more, looked along the riverbanks a lot more as well. You know? Yes, Brock Toon says, here, no accusing the family. I appreciate that here. Yes. Okay. So now let's look at what the Lancashire police have said, because they've now put out a statement 3 hours ago. And they say, as we approach the 3-week anniversary of Nicola Bulley going missing on Friday, the 27th of January, we remain committed to doing everything we can to find her. Okay? So, our sole focus throughout the investigation has been to find Nicola, to bring her home, and to support her family through the trauma they are experiencing. The most important person in all of this is Nicola. Nicola's family have asked us to issue a statement from them. Did they? I'm just thinking about it. Because it just, the way that it was done. Sorry, I'll put this back on the screen now. What I don't like about it, okay, and this is just my opinion, but was watching the press conference and then like tiptoeing around the topic of these, several vulnerabilities, and then saying they can't disclose it, but then 2 hours later just giving it to mainstream media, BBC News, Sky News, and then it became kind of almost, it had that feeling of like tabloid headlines, and it just felt horrible. So this is the thing. Kilter says law enforcement are saying crazy lady. They definitely, in my opinion, didn't succeed at building trust with the public and the community. Not that they seem to care much about people on social media or armchair detectives, as they say, which I've never said I am. We're just here reporting on true crime, right? Anyway, a group of grizzlies, though, a sleuth. Okay, so carrying on with the statement, sorry to interrupt it there. They say, Nicola's family have asked us to issue a statement from them. The family said, it has now been 3 weeks since Nikki went missing. We as a family believe that the public focus has become distracted from finding Nikki and more about speculation and rumors into her and Paul's private life. Okay, that statement, yes. So they say Nicola's family have asked us. So that's good that they asked for the police. Can you please back us on this? Because we'd like to make a statement too. So there's that. Okay. Then they say, as a family, we were aware beforehand that Lancashire police last night released a statement with some personal details about our Nikki. Although we know that Nikki would not have wanted this, I mean, who would, right? Not that there's anything to be ashamed of. There's no stigma, but like now, the way that it was done is for me a little bit the problem, right? Anyway, so they say, although we know that Nikki would not have wanted this, there are people out there speculating and threatening to sell stories about her. This is appalling and needs to stop. And just based on all the rumors all along the way that I've received in my inbox, the village gossip, if you will, I can just imagine what stories could be sold. I've seen quite a number of things. Okay. So the police know the truth about Nikki, and now the public need to focus on finding her, which is what we said yesterday. Laser beam focus. What is the task? Finding Nikki. Finding Nicola Bulley. That's a task. That's it. Nothing else changes. And I certainly don't judge anyone for struggling with anything in life. Daria Moon, do you feel this new information changes the dynamics of the case and possible reasons? Thank you, Daria. I'll have to think about that one. So I will get back to you. I'm thinking in the back of my mind here while I read this, right? So here they say, due to the perimenopause, Nikki suffered with significant side effects such as brain fog, restless sleep, and was taking hormone replacement therapy, HRT, to help. But this was giving her intense headaches, which caused Nikki to stop taking the HRT, thinking that may have helped her, but only ended up causing this crisis. I mean, causing this crisis. Well, okay. The public focus has to be on finding her and not making up wild theories about her personal life. I agree. Despite what some media outlets and individuals are suggesting, we are being updated daily and receive support from our family liaison officers. Nikki is such a wonderful daughter, sister, partner, and mother, and is missed dearly. We all need you back in our lives. And then they say, Nikki, we hope you are reading this and know that we love you so much and your girls want a cuddle. We all need you home. You can reach out to us or you can contact missingpeople.org.uk. Don't be scared. We all love you so very much. I just quickly want to go there. Missing people. Yeah, we accept the cookies. We never stop caring. We are the only UK charity lifeline for anyone affected by someone going missing. That's what they say. Join the search. Okay. And they've got lots of cases here as well. Shame. Here's Peter Baglin. We've covered his case. Mariama Kellen, Diamantino Mendez, Sharifa Rashid. I've looked at a few of these missing persons databases in the UK, and I just can't see Nicola's case on there. If you find it, please send it to me because I'd love to see it on an official missing persons database, right? I'd like to see your case there. Death by Chocolate says, I had to stop my HRT too. It wasn't working. It's truly debilitating to experience this. Yeah, I can only imagine. Okay, so from the super sticker earlier, do I think that this new information changes the case? In my personal opinion, no, it really shouldn't. And if it changes it for anyone, or if people, I don't know, lose interest or feel like, well, I don't know, all kinds of negative things that I've seen floating around online, then that's on them. Does it change it for me personally? No. Nicola Bulley, a mother of two, is missing. No one knows what happened to her. There's no evidence that she fell into the water, just as there's no evidence that there's third-party involvement or that she left on her own or anything like that. So I think all options are still on the table, in my personal opinion, based on what I know, and the public only knows 5 to 10% of what's going on in a case. So I do keep that in mind always. We are not privy to the information, but based on what I can see and tell and feel and hearing what the family says, I don't think it changes it at all. So Shauna says, now we know why they've been pushing the water issue. They knew from day one about these personal issues and the family didn't want it to get out. And then you say cover up. I think that maybe, I'm not speaking for them in any way, I'm speculating. Maybe the family thought, well, if this gets out, then people will just be like, oh, okay, so she, let's say she struggled with alcohol. That's it. Never mind, because maybe they're just worried that people wouldn't care as much, but we'll care. We'll care. Here at Grizzly True Crime, we'll care, right? She just needs to be found. Yes, I agree. Okay, so there's the same one here on the Lancashire Constabulary site as well. The same statement that they've released. They've also got the picture, of course, of Nikki with Willow. Nicola Bulley with Willow. Sky News is where I actually first read it. Right? They hit out at appalling speculation over disappearance. I think there was actually something. Oh, yeah. Sell stories. There was something down here that I wanted to read to you. Okay. The Independent Office for Police Conduct said it made contact with Lancashire Police to determine if a referral may be required after details about the mother's private life were disclosed after a press conference on Wednesday. The Lancashire force had initially refused to elaborate on vulnerabilities which made Miss Bulley a high-risk missing person, but later released a statement about her medical and mental health issues. Lancashire Police has come under criticism for revealing Miss Bulley's struggles with alcohol. Christina says, hey G, any UK peeps in here to talk about access to drug or alcohol rehab facilities? Can a person just go there? Or do they need pre-approval? Not sure why she wouldn't tell family. I think the police would have checked on that. From what I've researched, normally you would need some pre-approval or something. But yes, if anyone has information, you can email me, grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. Gaynor says, I agree, G, it doesn't change a thing. Maybe if they had said she was high risk at the start, people wouldn't have speculated so much. Well, that's what I'm thinking. And then at least they would have kept the eyes peeled a little more rather than she fell into the water. Just think, well, this is a vulnerable person, high risk missing person case. Okay, keep your eyes peeled. If you see her, call 999. She could be out there. I think that is what I would be upset about. Is that's maybe what should have happened, right? Because if you don't tell people, hey, look out, then they might just think, oh well, she fell in the water. That's what police are saying, right? Okay, so Lancashire Police has come under criticism for revealing Miss Bulley's struggles with alcohol, but the family statement published through the force made clear the police know the truth about Nikki. The family added, despite what some media outlets and individuals are suggesting, we are being updated daily and receive support from our family liaison officers. And I'm just going to go down here. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at this interview later. Okay. They say the family's plea for speculation to stop also included a direct message to Miss Bulley. So just listen to it one more time. Let me know what you think. Nikki is such a wonderful daughter, sister, partner, and mother, and is missed dearly. We all need you back in our lives. Nikki, we hope you are reading this and know that we love you so much and your girls want a cuddle. We all need you home. You can reach out to us or you can contact missingpeople.org.uk. Don't be scared. We all love you so very much. Based on that, I wonder if they think that Nicola left voluntarily and is hiding out somewhere or staying with someone. I don't know. But it's just I'm really glad that they still have so much hope, because so do I. I mean, Nicola could still be found alive and well and come home to her family. Judith says, I wonder why Paul thinks it's to do with someone in the village. I think it's also based on what locals. It's like the village talk, right? I believe there's talk going around that a scream was heard after 9:33. If you are watching and you're in that area and you heard a scream or something, please send me an email. I mean, call it into police, but I believe it hasn't really been taken into account from what I can gather from what everyone's saying online. Remember, that would just be a pinch of salt, a pinch of salt, because it's coming from, Facebook, Reddit, all these places where I could just see there's a bit of a buzz going on about it, of this potential scream somewhere. Okay, well, if it's after 9:33, it's still possible. You know what I mean? Somewhere there along allotment lane. So I mean, all options still need to be kept open. Now over here, let's see this statement here. I always want to zoom in for you guys. Okay, Crime Commissioner, Lancashire Police are being as transparent as they can be. Conservative Police and Crime Commissioner for Lancashire, Andrew Snowden, has said Lancashire Police are being as transparent as they can be following information disclosed about Nicola Bulley's private life in a press conference. Mr. Snowden said in a statement, first and foremost, my thoughts remain with the family and friends of Nicola Bulley, and I'm thankful for all the efforts of the officers, staff, and partners who continue to work tirelessly on the search for Nicola. The investigation into the disappearance of Nicola is under the direction and control of the Chief Constable. The unprecedented media and public interest in this case, whilst welcomed for appeals for information, is challenging for the family and friends of Nicola and officers and police staff dealing with unsubstantiated rumors and speculation on a daily basis. I'd like to thank all members of the public who have provided helpful information to Lancashire Police. The Constabulary have released a statement this afternoon from Nicola's family outlining the sad and difficult circumstances that led to the police and family needing to release further personal information. I, like everyone up and down the country, am deeply saddened by this case and want nothing more than for Nicola to be found safe and well and reunited with her family. Thank you, T. Hoppy. Love for all who show kindness to the family. I have regular briefings from the chief officer team at Lancashire Constabulary. Now my voice is going. Hold on. Is it back? Testing. Okay. I have regular briefings with the chief officer team at Lancashire Constabulary as they continue to search for Nicola, and the Constabulary continues to dedicate significant resources to the search and investigation. The police are being as transparent as they can be on what is an incredibly sensitive and complex case. This includes continued external support from the National Crime Agency and others as appropriate. Okay. So, thank you to the few mods that are here. I know this was a little bit short notice there. I'm just going to slow the chat a little bit more, you guys. If you're a member, which means if your name is highlighted, if you don't know what a member is, you guys, that's all the ones where the name is highlighted and stuff with the little badge and thing. Then slow mode doesn't apply to you. But I'm putting 100 seconds on for now, just so that we can all cope. Now let's see what's going on here. Okay, we've seen this as well. This is exactly the same. I just made sure this just looked like a lot of words, and I'm like, what if we miss words? So I pinned this as well. I must say this over here. Okay, so someone here, you guys sent me this. I've got a lot of emails today about this, and they say, why has Paul Ansel, Nicola Bulley's partner, changed his name on Facebook to that of the main character in old sci-fi series Quantum Leap? At the end of the series, Sam Beckett gets trapped and never sees his wife again. Now, I've never seen that show, you guys. So if you want to send me emails, and I've read a bit about it, I find it interesting. Yesterday, I was thinking, well, maybe it was just a troll account. Because remember, the police actually said, thank you for becoming a member. Okay, so yesterday, the police at the press conference said, if you see Nicola Bulley's accounts active, then just know that they're busy looking into the social media. So don't be alarmed or anything. Don't call in that as a tip or something. So then right after that, for Paul's profile name to change, it was still the same banner and everything, but then it changed to Sam Beckett. And I was just wondering, what? I thought maybe it's just a made up account, but apparently not. Apparently it really happened. So I don't know. I don't know too much. I don't know too much about Quantum Leap or anything. But yes, just for everyone who asked me questions yesterday and the hundreds of emails I have about this, yes, apparently it happened. So Paulie Ansel, and then the profile changed to Sam Beckett. So if you want to email me things, do so. They say Sam Beckett never made it home. That revelation in the final episode of the original Quantum Leap, which aired in 1993, has to be among the most disparaging endings of a beloved TV show. Our hero, played by Scott Bakula, will never reunite with his beloved wife. Okay, so there's that, and then let's look at this. Really? Scarlet Thread says, gee, Quantum Leap series was on TV in South Africa in the 80s. Damn. I think I was too little. I was born in 84. I don't know. I've never seen it. I've literally never seen it. Okay. Yeah, see, you guys are, you're like, Miss Demons is like, was defo him? I don't know why. I'm not sure. So here, we've got the, I think this is the one with the snarky dude. Maybe we should just go to the clip. Where is it? This one. Yes. Former Scotland Yard detective Peter Bleksley dissects and analyzes every theory currently out there surrounding the disappearance of Nicola Bulley. Okay, so remember yesterday I said, well, I hope he makes a response to that press conference. And then you all sent me this. It's like, look, he did it. So thank you so much, you guys, for sending me this as well. I'm sorry that you didn't get notifications. That sucks. That is okay. Okay. Suzy Q says he doesn't want all the traffic on his page due to haters is my first thought. Could be. The bishop says even if she had alcohol issues, she did not appear to be drunk and she drove her children to school. Just saying. Exactly. Okay, so let's listen to this.
I would love there to be a happy ending to this story, but tragically, I fear there won't be. My name is Peter Bleksley. I'm a former Scotland Yard detective, and now I'm an author and broadcaster. If Nicola...
Just standing by. Michelle says, I think you should check out the bad policing in SA. My father was a police officer. So, yeah, in South Africa. That's where I'm from. I don't think there's actually, it depends which area. Some police are really good in South Africa. Some areas are really bad. But what I like is in general, what I've experienced living there for 35 years is transparency, you know?
That has gone in the water. And of course, we know the police have said that's their theory and there's no third party involvement. I suspect they might have come to that theory by analysing her Fitbit, which we know she was wearing at the time. Because Fitbit is continually spewing out data about the movements, the activity of the person wearing it, and also the inactivity of the person. For example, if somebody is sitting down and not moving for a few minutes, data from that Fitbit will be retrieved and will show that. And if a Fitbit then showed that somebody, after a period of inactivity, took 6, 8, or maybe 10 paces, and maybe that riverbank is 6, 8, or 10 paces from the bench, then that might be the data upon which the police have based their working hypothesis. However, the police won't tell us that. And I strongly suspect the reason they won't tell us that is because they do not want to declare the methodology by which they obtained that data. They want to.
Interesting. Okay. Yes. You're like, hi, G, I like this guy. I'm from the UK too. Me too, right? Thank you, Jeff.
Keep that kind of tactic secret. If there's a third party involved in Nicola's disappearance, then I would have expected by now there to be some form of clues as to how that happened, because she can't simply have been airlifted out of there. Somebody will have had to have travelled on foot, in a vehicle, be that a car, a van, or...
I'm just going to pause it there because you're all asking about the Fitbit. They did tell us the Fitbit was not synced for 3 days. Yes, they did tell us that. So, interesting. Amelia says, maybe it's a private message to Nikki, never give up. That's what I was wondering. I was wondering that too. You know, maybe it's like a, private message put out there. Okay.
Whatever it may be. And with the investigation fanning out from the bench and the riverbank, as it has done, into the local village.
You guys are asking me for the grizzly boost? You want the grizzly boost? Okay.
All the surrounding houses and roads, I would have expected by now some form of evidence, intelligence, clues to have come forward. But it doesn't look like it has. I've researched and written about a number of murders where there's been CCTV cameras in place, but they weren't working. Part of me thinks that if you install a CCTV system, then you should, by law, be made to maintain it. Because here we have yet another case with a CCTV system in place, but it's just not working.
And we clarified that yesterday because the police said in the press conference that the Rowanwater CCTV was working. And we're going to look at a little map today to show which one was working, what wasn't working, all that. We're going to clarify a little bit more even.
And that, of course, is frustrating. It could have provided very important footage to the investigation. It might have given some comfort to the family. And it's always massively irritating when there's a system in place, but it's not working properly. Investigations, even cases like this, can turn on a sixpence in the blink of an eye, because suddenly some vital clue comes to notice which previously just hadn't been there. So I wish Lancashire Police well in the rest of their work on this case, although, as I've said, there are a lot of questions hanging over them.
Yeah, a lot of questions hanging over there. Is it too loud, you guys? Is it too loud? Emma Angel says, have you seen all the different routes Nikki had taken on Strava? I did see, but if you have a link or screenshots and you want to send me more, because I've seen about three different ones, 3 different screenshots from different days. It's pretty much a very similar route every time. But send it to me. Okay, so let's see what you guys say. Right, so now we've got still a few more clips to look at. Let me show you actually the map. So this map was provided by a friend of Nicola and Paul. And the coding here is the map legend. Let's put it like this. The green is where the river is quite shallow. about a foot, they said. The orange is where it's a little bit deeper, and the red part there is where along the river, the red is where it's too deep to cross at that point. And so showing where the bench is, as you can see. I hope you're looking at the screen. You can see where the bench is. You can see the unoccupied house. There's the official boundary line. So when police say they've checked that unoccupied house 3 times, they called it a derelict house. But 3 times, I wonder if they've checked the entire boundary line. I really wish that they could check that barn, because of the person who came forward who said that they saw a tatty red van outside that barn that they usually rent out. And whoever's there they would only be up to no good if they were there. And that person said that they don't know anyone who owns a red van. But yet, in doing some digging, they actually do, because their family is connected to a gun club, and there's 2 red vans, tatty red vans too. It's not just any brand new red van, tatty red vans, shabby red vans, connected to that family. So it's the barn is still of interest, just to check on whole lane. But anyway, the map is to point out around where Nicola was last seen and how it could be possible to cross to the other side of the river. So there's that. And then if we continue on to the next one, when the police said that at Rowanwater, the CCTV was working, they talked about at the main entrance. They did talk about something about the main entrance. So this map was also provided to me where you could see the main entrance off Garstang Road. That CCTV was working, and it's circled on the top left. You can see a red circle. Those were working. So they know she didn't leave there. But still, on the upper field, I still get emails about people confused about the camera not working, okay? Especially with the press conference, because they even said the caravan park CCTV, there's rumors they weren't working. That's not the rumor. The rumor, which is that the one on the upper field wasn't working that looks over the field. And we also know that because the police say the phone, moved towards the bench around 9:20, although Superintendent Riley said that the phone was placed on the bench, proven by telephony at 9:20. But if they wouldn't have to say that. They would say, we saw on CCTV that Nicola went to the bench at 9:20 if they had the camera footage, right? But just to make sure that yesterday, how they worded it, the main entrance of Garstang Road CCTV was working, and the one at the upper field, one camera is working, one camera wasn't working. And there is a little rumor that goes around too about the caravan park ones, but that's based on local knowledge, locals who are there in the area. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Ramona says, as an alcoholic with 6+ years of sobriety, I can attest that there is a stigma about those with addictions. It's often viewed as a moral failing, not a disease. That is horrible. That's a thing. I'm very passionate about mental health topics and things like that. And so I can't stand stigmas. So yeah, let's break the stigma over here. Grizzly true crime. So, man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay, does this make sense? You see there's the main entrance one they talked about. Those are working fine. We know she wasn't there. Okay, but the upper field one isn't working. And one of the, I call it village gossip now, because there's some locals in St. Michael's and Wyre that email me things, and the village goss would be that at the caravan park, they also have CCTV cameras, but something like, I might be wrong about how many they have, but like 3 out of the 4 of them aren't really working right now. There's one that's looking at a chicken coop. I've said that many times before, but that's a rumor. The one on the upper field, apparently the police had told the family that one wasn't working. That's that they can't see anything over the field happening. So they have to rely on what the phone was doing and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so now let's look at this one. They say ex-detective slams police for handling of case. Okay, so let's look at this one. We're not here to slam police. I just want to look at all the, even if we're feeling a little snarky about it. I'm not here to slam the police. We just want to look at all the, what are some of the ex-law enforcement and experts saying about this? And we're also going to look at what Peter Faulding has to say. All right. So
I'm a former police detective and I'm now an investigator, and I work across...
I think I missed his name here in the beginning to play for you. Here you go.
So my name's Mark Williams-Thomas. I'm a former police detective and I'm now an investigator, and I work across lots of cases reviewing murder investigations, disappearances, and that's what's brought me here. I've been in contact with the family and they've specifically asked me, very gratefully, if I could come up and have a look. And Peter Faulding is a very close friend of mine and we've worked very closely together over the last few days.
Having spent a few days in St Michael's, what is your opinion of what happened to Nicola? What is the most likely scenario?
Well, there are three hypotheses, not just one, there are three, and that is that Nicola came here and that she ended up in the water, which is, of course, has been the police's main hypothesis. But there are two others, that she left voluntarily on her own for whatever reason, things in her life. And the third one, of course, is the most sinister, that there was a third-party involvement.
Looking at the police investigation, what mistakes do you think were made and what would you have done differently if you had been leading the investigation?
Well, I think there's two key elements here, and that is the media strategy and what's been going on behind the scenes by the senior investigating officer. There is no doubt that their strategy right from the very beginning was to deal with this as a high-risk missing person, and as a result they didn't treat this as a crime scene. What they looked at is trying to identify and find her as quickly as possible, and their theory quite clearly was that she ended up in the water either voluntarily or by accident. And no one's really speaking about it, but very clearly, because of her high-risk status, they thought that she may well have taken her own life. The reality is, though, is that could she have gone in this water and committed suicide? And what I would say is that that is almost impossible. How did she end up in a...
That's what we were saying yesterday. Even if they're like, ooh, there were vulnerabilities. Okay. So falling into the water, like, what is that about? Just falling? No, I don't know. So I agree with what he's saying. I know, no matter which, I'm not talking about this guy now, but anyone I show on the screen, people always have feelings about it, right? Some people are like, I hate this guy, I like this guy, love this guy, whatever, or lady, whoever. Just know we're listening to the information. Okay, that's what I'm going to say.
The depth in the middle where she could end up dying, because if she'd come down the side here, it's so short, so shallow, she couldn't have died.
How has Nicola's vulnerability affected the investigation?
Nicola's vulnerability has now become a major issue, and it's very detrimental to the family. The family are now in turmoil. The last 24 hours for them have been horrific because the police decided yesterday to release that she was a high-risk misper. Why they decided to do it at that point, I really don't know. What they should have done is done it on day one. Get rid of all the speculation, dealt with it, had a very clear strategy with Paul, how they were going to deal with this. Nicola's got issues in her life. We all have issues in our life. That doesn't mean to say that she is any less vulnerable than anybody else, in terms of the process of what could have happened to her, i.e. third party. Now, I worry that there is a position that it's impacted so massively on the family. I also worry, of course, in relation to Nicola, if she is still alive, what's the impact on her to come back, say she was listening to this. But more significantly, the criticism the police have received gives us less confidence and faith in the police service, which is at an all-time low. They got this media strategy totally wrong, and I know that because I've spoken to them in the press department, and they acknowledge that. They've acknowledged they've made major failings. Their performance...
Damn, they've acknowledged that they've made major failings. Not at the press conference, but okay, apparently behind the scenes, right? Okay.
Yesterday was shocking, not only in the fact that they released that she was a high-risk misper at the press conference and then refused to explain what that was about. How did they think that they could release a piece of information like that and journalists, investigators weren't going to say, what are you talking about? And as that built up over the day, and when I spoke to the police yesterday, before lunch, and I said to them, listen, I've got information that something has gone on within the family environment, that there has been emergency service at the address. What are you going to do about this? Can you please confirm that that's true or not? And as a result of that, they then early afternoon, evening, released that information to say that there have been issues in Nicola's life. But we mustn't forget all of that. It is really important. It should have been released earlier. Nicola is still missing, and what we need to do is find her.
If the police are unable to ever explain what happened to her,
I see you guys are all asking about what company she works for. We went over that in an earlier episode. It's on Facebook. She's got an account called Nicola Bulley, mortgage advisor for exclusively mortgages.
where does that leave Lancashire Police?
Well, it leaves, first and foremost, the family in turmoil. They don't have Nicola, they can't mourn, they can't move on in that process, and of course her young children are in a position they never know what's happened to their mum. So that's the first and the most important thing. What it impacts on the Lancashire Police is that they need now to go right back to the very beginning in terms of their media strategy, externally look at it and go, do you know what, we got it completely wrong. Let's not make this mistake again. And it will happen. There will be other major investigations they have to deal with. Let's not make that mistake again, learn from it, put in place changes. And I think in terms of their back end element, what they mustn't do is become focused too early on one scenario.
Back to the investigation, the fact that the dog was walking.
So just hang in there. We've got 2 more minutes of this clip, and then I'm going to show you the Peter Faulding clip as well.
Between the bench and the gate, does that give us any indications where Nicola may have gone?
I think it is. I think it's really significant. It's only when you come to the scene that you actually understand, and that's why it's so important as an investigator always to come back to the scene. I call this a crime scene. That's how we talk about it. And what's really significant is the police have said it is unlikely, and their theory is that she hasn't left the area. But let's be very clear about that. It is impossible to say that. And I'll tell you why. Because the route in, which is across the bridge from where she left her car, down the path and through this gate here, is exactly the same route that she could have taken out of here, because there is no CCTV on any of this route. She could have left here either her own free will and got into perhaps a car, someone supporting her, or left on her own free will, and she would not have been seen. So for the police to say with certainty that she hasn't left the area is absolutely wrong. There are two.
Right? There's so many blind spots. It's not just the one. There's actually so many. So, damn. Okay.
Two scenarios here. One, she went in the water, but not here. Much further downstream where it is tidal and where it's deeper, or she left on her own free will and she's either gone away from this area or she's fairly close nearby.
If you were leading the investigation now, how would you proceed in the next few days?
Well, I think there's a number of things. First of all, I'd talk to the family and I'd get Paul to give a press conference. I'd get Paul to talk to the public and open up his heart in terms of how difficult it's been for him and the family. And let's get some sympathy back for Nicola. She's gone through torment, as many people do in parts and times of their life. Let's get that back in tune. Let's stop calling her, people have alcohol dependency. It doesn't make them a bad person. What it means is they've got issues in their life. Let's get a press conference. Let's get Paul talking to the public. Let's get the public back on side. That's first and foremost. And as far as the investigation goes, what I would now do is I would move away from the water here. It's no relevance here. I think they've probably exhausted all the elements downstream, and if she ends up turning up, then we'll find her. I would put searches in the whole of the locality around here. I'd go back out and I'd start appealing to the public. Is there anybody there who's got another piece of information that could fill this jigsaw puzzle? Because if she is still alive, and there's a big if, of course, sadly, if she is still alive, someone will be helping her.
Someone will know something. You just never know. If you think it's small information, it could really help. So never stop submitting information that you have, not filling up the inboxes with rumors, speculation, and nonsense. But if you're in the area and you actually know something, and maybe you've been too scared to talk or something, there's links on the Lancashire Facebook page where you can upload footage. There's an email address. There's a number to call. So, yes. Okay. Then, is it this one? Yes. Let's have a look at this one. Again, for some reason, okay, Jeremy Kyle is, some people react like love this guy, hate this guy. I see the chat going. I mean, I want to see. To me, none of that is really relevant. I want to hear the information, and I want to see what Peter Faulding has to say here. So maybe you already saw this yesterday, but let's look at this together.
In terms of, I mean, I read this, tell me if it's wrong. You've faced a barrage of criticism and out of total respect, I think, for the family, you've given your services for free and you keep coming back. I now read or hear that you're going to be part of a land search. And don't take this the wrong way. I thought your expertise was diving. And again, I would say to you, as I said to Mark, what does it say about this police investigation that there need to be contractors from outside giving their services for free and coming and helping out?
No, actually, Jeremy, my expertise is I've specialised in land search. I've worked on April Jones.
You see that? Specialize in land search. I like Peter Bleksley. I just quickly want to put the boost. Yes, the boost must go on here. The boost must go on.
Worked on the Peter Tobin case. I find buried human remains. So that's where I work. So it's awful. This is an awful case, and I just wish it had been handled a lot better in the first place by giving certain information that would have helped us target our search in specific areas.
Are you angry with the police?
I'm not. I understand. I work with the police every day. It's not angry with the police. I'm angry at their comms and the trust. I mean, normally I'm trusted with highly confidential information. It never goes anywhere. And if I'd been told on the day that Nicola was high risk, she was vulnerable, then I would have treated my whole search totally different. And we would have looked at potential other areas with all the expertise we've got. We have our own helicopter up there as well. And, so I understand that they have to withhold certain information. I understand that. But giving it to me would have assisted the operation a lot easier.
Simon, pretty damning.
I feel like the boost just needs to be put on a little more. Just hold on. So let's go volume boost. We turn it off. We want to turn it back on. Then it's going to be real boosted. Okay, there we go. Fixed. So, I mean, if Peter Faulding had known the information. Okay, wait, I'm on the wrong page. Hold on. There we go. We want to go here. Okay, full screen. There you go. If he had known the information from the start, he says his search strategy would have been different, which is, why would they not tell him that at that point, even in confidence? For him to be out there searching the water like he did is great. It eliminated, that Nicola's not in the water here in the areas that he searched. And so it's his belief that she didn't fall into the water, right? But if he had known the information about, these several vulnerabilities, he said his search strategy would have been different, which would obviously then include also the riverbeds and the land. So yes, maximum boost. Okay, so let's listen to this.
Both Mark and Peter saying that the comms, certainly the media approach, has hindered this case. And you touched upon in our first part about what this family are going through. And one can only imagine now, for Paul and his two daughters, hearing this, they must be at their wits' end.
Yeah, and I think a point that Peter makes there, I think there's another side to that, is that Peter, for all the good intentions he has, is not entitled to that information unless he's been brought in by the police. So you wouldn't give Peter certain information about that. So I don't think that, unless he was brought in as a additional.
But here's my question: why would they allow him to be brought in if they weren't prepared to give him information to help in the search? What's the point?
Well, I guess you can't stop him if you don't have the area sealed off. That's one of the issues.
Well, let's ask him, Peter.
I see that moment. I love that. Well, let's ask him. Like, well, I don't know. You can't stop them, and then Peter Faulding just comes through and defends himself.
Did you do this off your own back? Or as Simon says, were you, because you've said, I'm annoyed that I didn't have that information, and Simon is implying that you wouldn't have that because the police didn't, ask you or what? I don't know. Help me out.
No. I was actually being tasked by the police search advisor by Lancashire Police on this job. I was tasked with specific areas. So I was tasked, actually, Simon, and no disrespect to you, but actually the police were tasking me. The search advisor, the pollster on the scene, as I always get tasked. We offered our services, but I was specifically briefed by the police search advisor on this particular job.
And in all fairness, that would explain his anger today, that he wasn't given the full story. Mark, if I can bring you back in, and this is just me, this is just my reaction personally to what I heard today. I watched that press conference. I got the feeling that it was a bit panicky. I got the feeling that it was a little bit orchestrated. And as a result of the media and public pressure, going forward a little bit.
If you guys watched this already, I'm sorry about that. I know a lot of people had emailed me this as well. Look at this, look at this. So maybe you've seen it, but shame, look at Peter's face. He's just looking disappointed is how I describe his look right now, right? Okay, let's listen to what Mark Williams Thomas is going to say.
You're there. Is their strategy changing? What are we, the public, let alone the family, supposed to make of what happens next? I mean, for example, if Peter's right, could this poor woman be further downstream? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you make some very valid points there, Jeremy. I'm certainly speaking to the police yesterday, and my conversations with them today was to really put some pressure on the SI and say, the vulnerability, the information that I've been given. When I come in and do an investigation, I really go back to the very beginning, and it's amazing the amount of people that have provided me with information over the last 48 hours, telling me exactly what her state of mind and what was going on. Police hadn't released that. I put them under pressure today and yesterday and said, listen, you've got to be much more open. What is going on? And this afternoon, I got some further information and pressed them on the fact that, what has been the attendance of this at this house in relation to the emergency services. And of course, we had this rush press release out this evening. They are changing their strategy. The senior officers within Lancashire have acknowledged that there is some failings here. It's not now, isn't the right time to be reviewing that, but there will be in due course. What we now need to focus on is the reality of where Nicola could be. And there's two simple points. I mean, one of the questions I put to the police today is, are they believing that she went in the water to commit suicide? Or is there another means to this? The problem is down here is the water flow is incredibly slow. The water on that day was only very slightly higher than it is now. And in order to drown in that water,
also, you can see all the little yellow ribbons here as well, which is why if you see people sharing yellow hearts here in the chat, it's to show solidarity in that way. Like here, you can see lots of yellow ribbons and personal messages were also written on it as well.
You would have to have gone in there, unconscious in some way, or gone in there to prevent yourself from starting to breathe. There is another, of course, option is that she took herself away from that. She simply put the phone there, left the dog and went away. We don't know the answer to that. And let's be very clear for both, Paul and the family. And I have been in contact with them very closely in regards to my coming up here and also talking to the police. They are still living with the anguish of not knowing what's happened to Nicola. So whilst we're all saying, okay, it paints a very different picture, the reality is we still don't know where she is. And I
love that he says that, because that's how we feel, right? The reality is we still don't know where she is. She's a missing mother of two. I don't understand the stigma, the judgment, the anything on anyone who struggles with anything. And I mean, no matter who goes missing and no matter what they're struggling with, it could still be someone that snatched them. Did she walk away? Was she snatched? What happened? Was there an accident? Was there some kind of argument, altercation? We just don't know. There's so many options. So she's still missing. So please continue to share exactly. Jane, hashtag find Nicola Bulley and hashtag Nicola Bulley on social media. That will be very helpful. So Tail7 says, I'm 90% sure she was snatched and taken through Rowanwater gate. All they needed was the fishing license for the key. Camera wasn't working. Yesterday, in the press conference, the police were like, that camera was working. At the entrance, it was, yes. They say they've checked the Rowanwater. So I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying what they said, right? Just in case someone missed that. Thank you so much for that support. So they said the camera is working. They've checked Rowanwater. The managers and owners and everyone's been very, very helpful in the investigation. And they've basically cleared that area. So, man, okay.
Still urge everybody out there to still keep providing information, still keep looking, because she hasn't just vanished. She is somewhere, and there is a strong possibility she is not in that water. She could be somewhere else.
Mark, thank you for now. More from you later. Just to finish with you, Peter Faulding. What's your next?
We're going to just hear one more clip here from Peter Faulding. Someone I'll just put on the screen there as well. And hello to Lancashire Liberty. someone was saying the family needs to maybe do an interview now on Plea for Nicola's return, because can you imagine if she did voluntarily leave because she was so upset or struggling with her mental health or whatever? And can you imagine now with all the media hype, like how would that would be so awkward to emerge now? Like how would you? So yes, let's make sure that the message from us all is that, you know, there's no judgment. The only thing anyone wants is for Nicola Bulley to be found. It doesn't matter where, when, how, just even if she's scared. That's why they say, don't be scared, come home. That's what a family statement was. Don't be scared, we love you, come home. Don't be scared to come out. Everything will be okay, right?
Course of action, you've admitted your annoyance at not having all the facts. With what's come out today, what's next for you and your team, my friend?
Well, Jeremy, I've offered my services. I'd quite happily work along. I'm a trusted expert with the National Crime Agency. I'd quite happily come up and assist Lancashire Police, build that relationship. We had a good relationship on the day. I want to say that. I've got the greatest respect for the police. I work with them constantly. I will come up and assist. We got ground penetration radar. I've got 20 plus years of experience of specialist search, and that's why I do this. And I'm quite happily to bring my resources up to assist if they wish, and the offer is open, and build that relationship and work with them to try and help them.
Gentlemen, for now.
He's got a very mature attitude about it. He's like, look, I'll go out again. Even if I didn't know that information, I'll come again. Like, let's go. Let's start searching. I just love that. I love that attitude. He's just he's a go-getter. He wants to search again. So I think that will be very helpful to now, with the information, do the search that he would have done. It could help. It could help. Okay.
Now, thank you. Next on Jeremy Kyle Investigates, has social media been a help or a hindrance?
Social media can be a help if used responsibly. You know, of course, breaking into places, trespassing, taking selfies at the bench just for selfies' sake, you know. No, that's not responsible social media-ing. But I think there is great power in social media as long as it's used responsibly. Okay, so now, let me just quickly go here again. I think I've got one or two more clips to show you. Let's just see. Oh, yeah. The neighbor here says it could have been any one of us. Just give me 1 second, please. I just want to put it on the screen for you. There we go. So remember, let me just pause it. Nicola Bulley's neighbor said she saw her leave that day. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. So she said normally her children go to a different school, and when she sees Nicola leave with the kids, then she's like, oh, damn, kids, get ready. You're late, because then their school starts a little bit later, but she's like, okay, that's when she knows it's time to hurry up. So thank you, NC. So let's listen to what that neighbor, she actually did an interview now here with Sky News. Listen to what she's got to say.
To wonder how the people of this small rural Lancashire village still have hope. But they do, and it's in bucket loads. It's all for Nicola Bulley, still missing, still not at home with her daughters. For them, 19 days without a mum. Almost every morning, Charlotte would say hi to Nicola. They've been neighbours for 5 years. She says since she disappeared, it's been hell.
You cannot have anything but hope and positivity. You have to trust that we're going to find something, because if we haven't got that, what have we got? Can't just give up, and she would never give up.
Giving up is just not an option for anyone. But during half term, with her kids at home, more and more questions.
Can you guys hear it properly? I really hope so. More and more questions. So we saw the neighbor doing an interview as well. Volume booster. I'm just going to turn it on again. There you go.
Are being asked.
She's one of us. That's, I think, why it's hit so many of us so hard around here. The women, the mums, because we've all done this walk. It feels like it could have been any one of us.
The ribbons on the bridge are a clear indication there's still hope amongst many, and lots of it. But on the ground, the police presence is sparse. And from what we've seen, the search for Nicola Bulley has significantly decreased.
I'm just going to pause it there. Pernille says, I fear we are coming further and further away from empathy. We all go through something. Exactly. Where's the empathy? If people are like, oh, okay, she had these problems. I don't get that type of attitude where people are like, oh, okay, didn't know that, so never mind. No, where's the empathy? It doesn't matter what someone's struggling with, right? My belief is we all struggle with something and no one's perfect. Pernille, I have temp wrenched you. I hope that's okay. Okay.
Over the last week, Lancashire police moved their investigation downstream. Boats and divers in the sea to scan for any evidence to locate Nicola's whereabouts. They still believe she accidentally slipped into this huge tidal river. But today, this. Just one of a handful of officers searching for clues. Police say they'll continue to look. A family keeps on hoping. But
Okay. And Ella says she did not disappear due to alcohol or menopause, and pushing this narrative is shameful and misogynistic. I must agree with you. Like, how can that be the reason? You know? Lissa Oldham says, miss hearing the lovely Lancs accent. Bolton proud. The lovely Lancs accent. Should I practice it? Thank you so much for being here. And then we've got one more clip here. Former Police Crime Commissioner Martin Underhill reacts to private, confidential health information being shared. Okay, so let's listen to that.
Absolutely bungled this.
You would be forgiven for thinking so, Patrick. Thank you for having me on the show. The problem you've got here is that some really private, confidential health information has been disclosed by the police. And in doing that, they have created a completely different line of inquiry for the media and for the public, which is distracting actually from what the public want, which is to find Nicola, the mother of 2 children. So they've, again, in my view, scored an own goal. And that own goal is distracting everybody because it's an ethical debate now. I mean, why do we need to know that Nicola was going through the menopause? Every woman on this planet goes through the menopause. It's just unbelievable.
I would argue, though, Martin, so it's important to say now that the family have come out and said, well, they gave the police permission to do this now. But the reason, of course, is because there's been massive press scrutiny and massive public scrutiny into the ins and outs of it. Look, we can argue about that all day long, but I would have thought anyway, think that the people who should have known are maybe not you and me, maybe not Joe Bloggs down the pub, but actually the people who were diving, looking, and even the head of that independent dive team has said it would have changed the way he approached that search. There would be more.
Sorry if it's too loud. Just turn the volume down if it's too loud. Okay, I boosted it. Gayla says, I think she was okay that day. She was listening to a meeting, sitting on the bench, Willow off the lead. She rushes down to the dog, slips and falls. I mean, it could be, but then they would have found her by now, in my personal opinion, which is also the opinion of Peter Faulding and other experts, right? But you never know. You never know. Lisa in the chat said, sorry, I logged on late. I'm a physician, worked in addiction for 5 years in the worst Skid Row area of North America. I'd be very shocked if alcohol has anything to do with Nicola's disappearance. Right? Menopause and alcohol is what the police are saying. Ooh, she struggled with this. It still makes no sense then that she's missing. You know what I mean? So thank you so much, Cheryl.
More chance of having found Nicola if he'd have known that, and that seems unforgivable.
Well, again, we have to go back to how did the dive team end up being searching the River Wyre, because it appears that the family asked for help rather than the police, and therefore the police, you could argue, didn't have to brief the search team. But you're absolutely right. What they've done by releasing that information yesterday, which is completely unprecedented, to my knowledge, of a missing person case like this, is one, they've destroyed her reputation at the stroke of the pen. Secondly, they have started a huge debate about whether a woman with menopause, basically we're blaming victim blaming here. And that has distracted everybody from the key issue. So yes, if Paul, the diver, had been told about this information, it would have changed his tactics, because he was looking for someone who the police had said fell in the river. The strong suggestion from the details released yesterday is that she might have jumped in the river, and that completely changes your underwater search tactics. So I do get the point about the dive team. The police would say we didn't invite them and the family did, and we're not obliged to disclose information. But you've already hit the nail on the head. This information, if it had been released in the first day of Nicola going missing, would have completely changed the dialogue, the coverage, and the perception of this case.
Yes. And Brave Dove Vlog says, was it the police that mentioned specifically alcohol? I missed it if they did. Yes, yesterday after the press conference. Was that yesterday? Yeah. Feels like a lot happened. It's a blur, right? Everything happens all the time. So much news. After the press conference, even though in the press conference they said they can't reveal what these several vulnerabilities are, then about 2 hours later, they released it to mainstream media, and they said she was struggling with menopause and alcohol issues. Yes. So it was all in one statement released.
And why they've done it 3 weeks later, I have no idea. All it's done, as you said, good expression, they've thrown Nicola and her family under the bus, they've destroyed her reputation, and started a national debate about the menopause, which is not helpful when we're trying to find the mother of 2 children.
No, exactly. And you know what it looks like for me anyway? And maybe this is unfair. We've gone to Lancashire Police for a comment. We're waiting to hear back on this. And maybe this is unfair, but I can only give my honest opinion about what this looks like from me, is that there was a bit of a ham-fisted approach initially. There wasn't coordination. And what have we had in the last 2 days? We've had them throwing the public under the bus going, oh, you were giving us a load of duff information. Well, I'm sorry, but there was a massive appeal for information. And you're always going to get sickos and weirdos out there in any case like this. And one would imagine the police would just have to deal with that. And then on top of that, now you've got Nicola, personal reputation being thrown under the bus. This to me looks as though the police are absolutely bricking it and thinking, what can we do to swerve our initial mistakes here? Your takes on that?
Well, by victim blaming her, they are almost protecting their own reputation, and that's already been said in the last 24 hours. There's, as I keep saying, the last time I spoke to you, I said this, the Lancashire Police are doing things that are not normal in cases like this. We keep going into rabbit holes that I've never seen before. I mean, as you said in your opening speech, we went 8 days without a press conference, which left a huge void. So your TikTok detectives, your armchair detectives filled that void because the police weren't there telling the public what they wanted to know. And then when they do come out and do a press conference, they completely throw a swerve ball, such as she's vulnerable. Well, if they'd left it there, that would have been fine. They could have said she suffered from depression. That isn't throwing her under the bus. It's a medical fact. But by actually going into massive details about drink abuse, alcohol abuse, and the menopause, I don't understand what they're trying to achieve. It doesn't help this inquiry move forward. It destroys Nicola's reputation, and I imagine has alienated the family.
Yes, so what do you guys think about that? Let me know. That's pretty much the news for today. From what I can see, that's if you missed the family statement, I'll just read it to you one more time quickly. Which, let's read this one from here. Let's go to The Guardian. Metal Dog says, Grizzly True Crime, do you know what makes me laugh is the people that just say, come on, pull yourself together and go home. Mental illness doesn't work like that. Exactly. So, yes. And Robert says, the police are definitely worried about their reputation. Okay, so let's look at this. This was the statements from earlier that we looked at. It's a different article. So they said the family of Nicola Bulley have said that the speculation about her private life needs to stop and that the focus should be on finding the missing woman. Bulley was classed as a high-risk missing person when she disappeared near her home in Lancashire 20 days ago. The police revealed on Wednesday that Bulley was put into the highest risk category. If you missed the stream yesterday, please check it out because we went into what is low risk, medium risk, high risk, all of that. No risk, low risk, medium, high. I've also put the links in for the sources of that, so make sure you go check out the timestamps and things if you do want to access that information. And she was termed or classed as a high-risk missing person when she disappeared near her home. Okay, the police revealed on Wednesday that Bulley was put into the highest risk category due to some significant issues with alcohol stemming from ongoing struggles with the menopause. They said this was done in an attempt to reduce speculation about the 45-year-old's disappearance in an attempt to. Well, I wish they had said it at the press conference then, right? Because they were already ruling out all kinds of things. The glove, we had it all yesterday. All the red van, the glove, the fisherman, all that stuff, right? And so here they say MPs and campaigners said the release of personal information about a missing person was deeply troubling, and the Independent Office for Police Conduct said it had contacted Lancashire Police about the matter. Thank you, Gayla. Puts her phone down on the coat. Puts her phone down to put the lead on the dog when sees caravan lady is on field. Large coat pulled her down. Body moves down the road. Body's due. Well, then they would have found her by now, in my personal opinion, but we can all have our opinions here. Thank you so much for the support. And happy Haggies, thank you for sharing all the yellow hearts and ribbons. So, they say a police spokesperson for the IOPC said, following information that was made public by Lancashire Constabulary yesterday, we've made contact with the force to determine if a referral to the IOPC may be required. Oh, okay. Bulley's family said the mother of two would not have wanted the information released, but they hoped it would end the speculation and help the public focus instead on finding her. We as a family believe that the public focus has become distracted from finding Nikki and more about speculation and rumors into her and Paul's private life. And as I said, you guys, based on all the emails I received, I'm getting all the village gossip. Damn, there's a lot of things that people really are speculating and the rumors are really starting to fly, which is unfortunate. They said in a statement referring to Bulley's partner, Paul Ansell. As a family, we were aware beforehand that Lancashire Police last night released a statement with some personal details about our Nikki. Although we know that Nikki would not have wanted this, there are people out there speculating and threatening to sell stories about her. This is appalling and needs to stop. They said the police knew the truth about Nikki. Due to the perimenopause Nikki suffered with significant side effects such as brain fog, restless sleep, and was taking hormone replacement therapy to help, but this was giving her intense headaches, which caused Nikki to stop taking the HRT, thinking that may have helped her, but only ended up causing this crisis. The public focus has to be on finding her and not making up wild theories about her personal life. They said the police were giving the family daily updates about the search and supporting them with family liaison officers, which is great to hear. Nikki is such a wonderful daughter, sister, partner, and mother, and is missed dearly. We all need you back in our lives, they said. Nikki, we hope that you are reading this and know that we love you so much and your girls want a cuddle. We all need you home. You can reach out to us or you can contact missingpeople.org.uk. Don't be scared. We all love you so much. Yes, Maribel says equivalent to she was PMSing. No one hurt her. She fell in the water. Gosh. I'm reading that out as that, right? They're like, oh yeah, she menopause, alcohol issues. Yep, she fell in the water. Oh my word. Bulley, a mortgage advisor, disappeared after dropping off her daughters, aged 6 and 9, at school on the 27th of January in St. Michael's on Wyre. She was last seen at 9:10 a.m. walking her usual route with her Springer Spaniel Willow alongside the River Wyre. Her phone, still connected to a Microsoft Teams work call, was found just over 20 minutes later on a bench overlooking the riverbank with her dog running loose. Since she vanished, huge public and media interest have resulted in what police described as false information, accusations, and rumors. And there has been a search of the River Wyre downstream to Morecambe Bay and miles of neighboring farmland. Okay, those were two weird sentences to put together there. Carmen, thank you so much. We see a heart, a candle, a map, and a home. Yes, bring Nikki home. So they say Lancashire Constabulary said an unprecedented amount of work had gone into the case, and it maintained there was no evidence to indicate a crime had been committed. Christina said, can you Google menopause symptoms just to see how many symptoms there are? Alcohol could make some easier. Oh, I'll have a look. If you want to send me some links as well, grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. I prefer to make a presentation than just scramble around now. If I'm going to deep dive, I usually deep dive things, Thank you so much. So they say, in a statement on Wednesday evening, police said that they had attended Bulley's home a week before she went missing after a report of concern for welfare. No one has been arrested in relation to this incident, but it is being investigated, police said. In an unusual step, they said, they chose to reveal that Ansell had disclosed that she suffered from issues with alcohol. So maybe that's what you guys were asking earlier. Someone asked earlier, did the police release it? The police released the information, but they got the information from Paul, to clarify. And based on that welfare check as well on January 10th, that would have probably had some official paperwork and, you know, nurses, law enforcement officers involved as well. So there would be a record of that. Sadly, it is clear from speaking to Paul and the family that Nicola had in the past suffered with some significant issues with alcohol, which were brought on by her ongoing struggles with the menopause, and that these struggles had resurfaced over recent months. This caused some real challenges for Paul and the family. It is an unusual step for us to take to go into this level of detail about someone's private life, but we felt it was important to clarify what we meant when we talked about vulnerabilities to avoid any further speculation or misinterpretation. The College of Policing regards a high-risk missing person as someone at risk of serious harm to themselves or the public and requiring the immediate deployment of police resources. The senior investigating officer on the case, Detective Superintendent Becky Smith, criticized the social media speculation, saying it had significantly distracted the police, adding, TikTokers have been playing their own private detectives. In 29 years of police service, I've never seen anything like it. Some of it's been quite shocking and really hurtful to the family. All I could say to that is welcome to 2023. Yes, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all of that. The world is connected. You're going to get a lot of, you know, a lot of information, I'm sure. A lot of people have pointed out it's quite a small police department in that area. And so this must have been really overwhelming for them, right? Thank you so much for that. So she said there were some persistent myths that keep being referred to in the press, including one linked to an abandoned house, which is not abandoned. It's not derelict or abandoned. It's unoccupied right at the moment because they're renovating it, which police have searched 3 times. A red van, which is not a significant part of the investigation, and a glove, which has been ruled out as not belonging to Bulley. Smith added, we're really, really grateful to members of the public for ringing into the inquiry. We wouldn't have gotten this far without everybody's help, but I think it's also really obvious that we are being inundated with false information, accusations, and rumors, which is distracting us from our work. The advice always would be laser beam focus, right? Yes. Under pressure, a lot of information can be distracting. I'm basing that on, I was an airline pilot for 10 years at South African Airways, and trust me, when you're flying, they specifically, you do 2 tests every year where they see how much they can really throw at you in a simulator, how much can you handle before you actually start getting like distracted. And then in those moments, they teach you to focus, laser beam focus. That's it. Okay. So being responsible for people's lives in that job that I had, right? So the point is, you know, they could do it. Just focus on the task. What's the task? It's finding Nicola. Okay, now what information do we have so far? And you build the puzzle. And you consider all the options, right? Which I think is what they say they're doing. Okay, well, let me quickly, just before I go, I just want to look here as well. Just to see if I just want to type in Nicola Bulley here, just to make sure. Sometimes if I end the stream, then suddenly there's more news. Then I'm like, we're going to talk about this again. What? Let's just see this. Nicola Bulley latest. Daughter's emotional plea to missing mother as speculation runs rife. The family of Nicola Bulley have issued an emotional plea for the missing mum to come home amid chaotic speculation around her disappearance. Okay, so we saw this. I'm just looking. The way that it's worded, I'm like, sorry, what is this now? No, this is all the same. We've seen it. Okay. Thank you, Fragaria. One more quickly. I just want to see. So everything there's fine. And if you follow me on Twitter, then there's a lot of news on there as well. Always, all the time. There's so much news on my word. Let's just quickly do this. If we bring this over here, and if we go on Twitter and you type in hashtag Nicola Bulley, you can either see the top post or the latest posts. And if you're looking for certain photos and things, you can go there. So come over to Twitter. There's a lot of us Grizzlies on there, and a lot of the breaking news is on here as well. So, right, Nicola Bulley, family, this is all the same, right? So we could see that. So we've covered everything for today. Thank you so much for being here with me as we went through this news. I'm excited to read your comments to see what your thoughts are. If you're watching the replay and you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching the entire stream. This time, less than an hour and a half today. I hope that you, I'm just checking this quickly. I hope that you have a wonderful afternoon or evening ahead. And I appreciate you being here. Like, share, hashtag Nicola Bulley. You can also use hashtag find Nicola Bulley. I still see the main one is Nicola Bulley. It's actually trending on Twitter right now. So that would be useful to hashtag Nicola Bulley so that everything gets categorized together. You can also add hashtag Grizzly True Crime. And if you're looking for any links like, you know, my books on the merch or Patreon or whatever it is, it's all on grizzlytruecrime.com. Okay, so just 1 second. Okay. I missed a super chat earlier. So Alison asked, was the dog lead found with the harness, or does Nicola have the lead with her? Has there been any woodland searched? Sorry, Alison, that I missed yours. The dog lead was apparently found with the harness. Yes, it's always attached to the harness and then take the harness off and carry it like that. So I believe so. And has there been any woodland search? According to the police, yes. They say they've searched 300 premises, the land, there's mountain rescue, everything. So it does seem so. If I missed anyone's super chat or sticker, sorry about that. Sometimes I do miss it based on how many people are here and what we're talking about and me looking left and right at everything, of course. But I do read them all afterwards, just so you know. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. All right, everyone. Thank you, mods. And I will see you guys later. Bye.